You all good? Ready to go?
All good.
Hello, hello, hello. Alright, let me just get comfy. I'm gonna lean back. I like the lean.
Get nice and comfy.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Full Circle. I'm starting it off by trying to get a bit of beef going by bringing on a co-podcaster to try and start some beef in the scene. Tom Wilson joins me.
Hello.
Hello, brother. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks for coming on. You guys will also notice there is a certain person not here today. We have no Dan J. Lee. Hence why we've brought in Dan. He's brought in Tom. He's got bucket loads of experience compared to Dan when it comes to speaking on podcasts.
New co-host.
Yeah, new co-host. You gone, Dan? Yeah, Dan's not here today, but that's fine. Charlotte's still here. Say hello.
Hello, sorry, I'm just taking some photos.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, clearly focusing. Charlotte's here as well, so don't worry. We're not all down on our look. But yeah, we're gonna do some usual things. Talk about music, play some unreleased tracks, and etc. Get your opinion on it, and all that good stuff. So I think kicking it off, let's go right back to the beginning. I said to you before we started the classics questions that I have to ask.
Where did it all start?
Where did it come from? How did it start? But yeah, let's do all that. You obviously had loads of releases with us, especially like I think you had 4 last year, right?
I think 3 or 4.
3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
It's been a real big run, but to get to that point, there's obviously all the groundwork before.
Yeah.
How did you get into the EDM scene? Where did that inspiration to really pursue music first start?
I think like initially quite like Avicii was a big influence. So it's like his album came out back in the day. It was like I loved all that stuff. Loved David Guetta and growing up, like all the mainstream like EDM stuff. But I kind of this future house sound came in. I loved Oliver Heldens. And then through Oliver Heldens, I found Kirby. And I found that Kirby was using FL Studio, and I was like, I saved up for a desktop, bought a desktop, I was like, downloaded FL Studio, made the worst music you can imagine, as everyone does when they start. But like, yeah, just started making a few tracks on there and like showing all my friends at school, and they were absolutely terrible. But that's kind of just where it started, just from seeing other people produce like Kirby and being like, I just want to try that myself. I
feel like Kirby low key, like actually has a bit of a chokehold on that like UK scene.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like not quite like the back in the day, like the Garrix influence, or all like these massive artists. Because there's been a few like people, and obviously a lot of guests we've had on here are UK based artists, but there's always been that mention of Kirby.
I think the thing is when back then, like the stuff he was making was just insane.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea how he made that. Like just back then it was absolutely insane. It's just like I think everyone he was like the golden standard for like just production quality and all that, and everyone looked up to him. So.
And he feels like he was at the front of that sort of new wave, like just past like the people that you mentioned before. But then like at the forefront of like artists for like yourself to come up. He smashed it. And then he obviously we released, was it What You Like on NCS 10? That was it, Charlotte, right? What You Like was the Kirby release.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, which was an absolute banger. So you did the usual thing, sort of got into the production. When did you know, like, okay, there's a certain sound I want to start, I want to follow here, or this is something that I actually want to put in some dedicated hours to?
I don't know. I don't think there was any like specific time where that sort of clicked. I just think naturally it built up. I think a big thing was like making some of the friends I have within the music scene. So it's like they kind of pushed me towards the right direction. It's like people like Jonf and Fasading and people like that. Meeting all of that group and then kind of just working on music with them kind of pushed me in the right direction. But I don't think there's any specific point that kind of where I realized. But I don't know. I'd always made. Like I'd always tried to make house, and then just one day I was like, I'm gonna try and make trap music. Managed to get on Trap Nation back then, and like just from there, I kind of progressed from that point. If you get me, so
yeah, I think we'll get onto like the sort of trap sound later on, because there's definitely, especially on those last releases for the last few years, there's been that real push for you, and that sort of that cross pollination of the like rap sort of trap sound as well, which is definitely excuse me, like really prevalent in like the things that you've been releasing recently. You mentioned there about Fasading, we obviously had on the podcast. We spoke to Jake as well, who's a good friend of yours. I know. I think those kind of like the industry connections, but they're actually personal ones, are so important. I was listening to your podcast, Soundproof, with Jonf earlier, and there's when you interviewed Dan, that's a proper cross pollination. That is like really flipping the script right now. you guys were speaking about how important actually having those personal connections are.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's such a key thing?
Well, so like, for example, if you message someone on Facebook and you want a favor, or you're like being friends with them and actually meeting up with them before that and being like making the effort to be like how like they put a name to a face then once you meet up with them. So if you message someone you want a favor and you help them back sort of thing, it's kind of like it's easier to do that. And once you have that personal connection with someone, it's so easy to kind of ask them for favors, they ask you for favors, you know, versus just like hitting someone up on Facebook and being like, can you do this? It's like once you can put a name to a face, it makes such a difference.
Yeah, and I guess it's also like, I would imagine that for people that like artists you've collabed with or vocalists that you collab with,
Yeah.
like it makes any kind of, not necessarily disagreements, like discussions about what it might be that you're working on so much easier, because it's not just a like, let's change this, and they're like no, or they're like yes. You get that rapport to know how to communicate with them. I guess it's sort of like when you think about artists that you've worked with, you mentioned Facade in there, like, and you have like Jack X, MIME, those kind of guys. What is it about those collabs and actually having that relationship as a side to just being like, can you sort this, that really pushes that further?
It's like you can just be honest with people.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Like if you're just trying to tread around, not like being mean to them and being like, I don't like what you've done here. It's like you're going to get a worse product in the end, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The song won't turn out as good. Whereas if you can just be honest with someone and be like, right, let's jump on a Discord call. Let's like think through this together. We can work on this together. It's like, it makes that whole collaborative process way more fun. And I think that's the main thing, like with music, especially. It's like if you're having fun making it, it just turns out better. It's like people who are just trying to force it out. You can kind of tell some of the time, if you get me. Whereas if you're working with people you're generally friends with, it makes like a whole world of difference. Like,
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's evidence of it in tracks that you brought out. We went down to Brighton, like, when was it? Last year?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
When we did Zero Gravity and went in that house and you all walking upside down, which was a good day. It was a nice little hangout. But again, like even things like that, when it's just an industry connection, it's nice to actually put a name to a face,
100%.
Put a face to a name, sorry,
Yeah.
and know that like you're not just working with people in a professional sense. You're working with people that you get on with, for sure. You've been all over recently.
Yes.
And you're about to make another journey again.
Yeah.
What's been going on in the world of Tom Wilson?
So I've been taking some time off music, but I've just started traveling again. So I went to Ultra with the boys.
Nice.
So we went to Miami for 2 weeks. Went to a bunch of shows and stuff out there. That was sick. So that was that was Jake. Who else came? Versailles. He came as well. And a couple of the other boys, Ollie Walker as well. And yeah, we just went to Ultra for 3 days. I'm trying to remember what else we did. It kind of flashed by so quickly, but no, Ultra was insane. Like Madion, that was the best set I've ever seen in my life. Like honestly, it was insane. Garrick's at Ultra, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And then Hardwell ending it. Wasn't personally a fan of that.
Oh really?
Bit of a controversial opinion, but I did want to watch the ending Ultra set.
Yeah. He headlined it. How many days is it?
So 3 days, and he was the headliner on the Sunday.
So were those three the headliners?
So Garrick's wasn't the headliner, Kygo was. But
That's mad.
I know. I didn't actually watch.
Kygo's massive, but I'm just surprised that Garrick's.
Kygo. So I didn't actually watch Kygo, but I heard he bought on like 50 Cent and a load of other people.
What?
It was a bit random from what I heard.
50 Cent on a tropical house.
I don't know.
That's wild.
Really, but no, that was cool. But we were just at the some of the other stages watching some of the dubstep stuff. So like Knife Party, Joyride did a set as well. Yeah. That was insane. Like. Honestly, it's probably one of the best things I've been to in terms of events.
So sick.
I'm trying to think what else I went to. We went to like a DJ Mag pool party. That was really cool.
Oh, class. Did you just stay around where the festival was, or did you?
So we stayed on South Beach, which is kind of just across from where the city is.
Yeah.
It's kind of more of a touristy area. But like that was where kind of most of the pool parties and stuff were.
Oh, sick.
What else did we see? Me and Jake went to see Lost Kings as well.
Oh, nice.
Cool. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think
at LIV. But no, honestly, just the whole Miami experience was really cool.
Did they do it like in a sense of sort of? I imagine it's probably bigger on a scale when it comes to something like ADE. But is it that there's the meeting side of it as well?
So from what I understand, there is. I personally like it's not so because AD is like so confined
really
into the
compact.
center.
Yeah,
you can kind of tell like you just bump into people. Whereas Miami wasn't quite the same. Like I didn't really personally see much industry side of it, but I think that's just because I wasn't really there for that this time. I was just there to kind of have fun. But some of the guys we were staying with were off. Like they had like 10 wristbands up their arm because they've been to like a stupid amount of meetings. But I think the majority of like networking stuff was just happening at parties. It's not quite the same as AD in that sense.
Do you I mean, I know you've been to AD loads of times, right?
Yeah.
Any massive highlights from there? How many times have you been? Because I've seen you for like Ellis. You've been there for like what, three times?
I think 2 or 3 times I've been. I think the first time I went to the Monster Cat event, and I was aware of Mode Step, but I'd never seen their set. And they came on and the intro was like this. It was like a airline announcement.
Oh, what?
But it was like an airline announcement saying open a mosh pit or whatever in the center. And we weren't. We were stood up on the balcony just watching. But it was like we were gonna go off and watch Chammy because Future House Music was in the other room.
Oh yeah.
And it was like the same event. But that happened and we were just like, we've got to stay.
Mode Step would be sick. That's like
that was an insane set. Like,
that's on a similar vibe to like Maddie, I think, in that because they do like live, right? They play like a bit of.
So this was a DJ set, this one, but I'm pretty sure they do some live stuff. Yeah.
We spoke about it before, and we mentioned Fred again a load on this podcast. But I've realised that I went to watch Fred like a few months back, and I bumped into Sam Day there, one of our NCS artists, and he mentioned to me, he was like, that was the guy from Mode Step, because on the Fred again setup there was him and then another guy like sort of DJing doing a bit of mix, like filling in the gaps basically. And it turns out it was like the producer from Mode Step, and he's now like part of Fred Again's live setup. It's crazy, but their music is nuts, and I think that's one where you basically just can't really miss that. But no, that sounds super cool. I think what's interesting with you, especially in the releases that we've had over the past like year or so, is that consistent sort of style and branding. Yeah. Which again, you spoke about this on a podcast with, I think it was the Clarks one. I presume you've.
Yeah, because Clarks was doing all those. He had a load of covers where he was doing that sort of thing. Keeping it consistent.
It was like the cartoony type.
Yeah.
Stuff, right? Yeah. Why do you think it's so important to have that established brand as an artist?
I think like having like iconography in general as an artist, where someone sees something and they're like, that's a Tom Wilson track because they've seen that. Yeah. Or they even just recognizing your face or something, like it's important to have that. Because like that's how you establish your brand. You are your brand, in my opinion. Yeah. So I was just trying to, keep a consistent style in terms of like, not necessarily in terms of the music, but in terms of the way I'm presenting my music, like the way I put it out. So as you were saying with the covers and stuff, I quite like doing that whole artwork style. Yeah. And obviously I'll probably develop that over time and change it a bit, but if you can see that and be like, that's a Tom Wilson track, that's kind of what I want that to achieve. So
yeah, I feel like there's the especially with massive artists as well, like your global superstars, there's like the eras that people make. Yeah. So like The Weeknd, I think, is a prime example of it. Like all of his releases have like, I mean, he'll even like go as far as changing what his haircut is for like the next 2 years. But I think, like you say, having that defined thing where people can look at that and go, not only is that it's like a Tom Wilson track, but you're in that sort of world. You know what I mean? It's like you sort of feel like you belong because you're like, oh look, I've got these songs saved, and it might be the smallest thing is that they just look a bit similar, but I think it makes people feel really included and stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you? I guess there's like the conscious effort with that, and we've spoken to Fasadin about this kind of thing of like getting your brand really solid in. When you have like these people that you see returning and getting involved in that world of like Tom Wilson, whether it's comments that you get on like an NCS upload, or people even more like intense, like people DMing you and saying like, those recognizable faces. What does that mean to you to have like those? I guess they're like just super fans.
It's just cool. Like if someone understands why I've put the effort into kind of trying to make everything similar in a sense, and like even if they just like one song particularly, it just means the world. Like just having one person, once you've released a song, if one person messages you and they're like, I absolutely love your song, like it's my favorite one, I listened to it like 10 times today already or whatever. So nice to hear. Nice to hear. It's just the coolest feeling, because it's like you don't put it out specific. You put music out because you just enjoy making it and it's fun to put out, if you get me. I don't put it out just to try and get people's reaction in that sense, but when you do get the reaction, it's kind of it feels nice to know that people like what you're making, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I guess it's just a sort of nice thing to see like hard work pays off, right?
100%. Yeah.
It's like not necessarily gratification, but sort of just like, oh, what something that I'm really passionate about is resonating with like this person here. Do you ever like do the dive into like Spotify for artists or whatever and see where the random like you know you got someone in the middle of Nova Scotia just listening to these tracks?
I used to do that more. I haven't done that recently as much because like I used to find it really interesting where all the people were listening for where it particularly was from. But I realised that correlates a lot to like what playlist you're in, obviously.
Ah, yeah.
So, but my thing more now is just like just put music out. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, you've learned something. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to focus on stats and stuff as much now.
Yeah, for sure.
And looking at all that stuff. So yeah, that's why I've been a bit quiet.
Well, I mean, we'll get on to like stuff that's in the pipeline for you.
Yeah.
But I like to keep you lot waiting so that they we can get some clickbait.
So they watch the end.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about that watch time. We need that retention. Let's take it like back, rewind the conversation a little bit. Outside of the production stuff that you do, you have Tom Wilson and Tom Wilson.
Yeah.
You've got a life as well. You mentioned festivals, that kind of stuff. What do you do in your day to day outside of music?
So at the moment I'm working part time at Go Ape
Sick.
in Wendover. That's quite good fun.
For anyone that doesn't know Go Ape, do you want to explain a bit?
It's like a high ropes course basically. So yeah, get there in the morning. We have to open the course, so you pull yourself up a zip line backwards and then go through the course. And it's quite good fun. It keeps you active. You know, you walk like 15, 20 kilometers a day.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it's a very social job as well, so it's good. But it kind of gives me time to work on music as well, if you get me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to schedule stuff in and go places, I can book time off easily there. So it's quite a nice job in that sense.
Imagine being like getting in your studio hermit mode when you're like producing.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing to have a balance of, because
Yes.
you're like, this is an active thing that I'm doing.
100%.
Whereas like it happens to me if I'm like sat like, I don't know, doing whatever I'm doing and I'm at a computer and then we go into the office and I'm then sat at the computer again. I'm like, what have I done?
Just sitting down all day, you just feel hard. Like, because it's so easy to start working on a song or something, and then 8 hours later, you're like, wait, I've just been sitting down all day or whatever. And then having the balance of going out and doing something active is quite nice,
sure.
you know?
Do you know what? We said this after we did the zero gravity thing in Brighton.
Yeah.
And then we found out on that day that you worked at Go Ape. Why didn't we just go there? We could have got so much content.
We could.
You could have done a parasail down off a wall. You could have we could have reversed the video. There were so many options. But it's fine. It's fine. It was really good. Anyway, that was cool. What was it like working with Jack X on that? Is it Jack or Jake?
I think it's Jack.
Jack. There we go.
So.
Do you know what it is? It actually is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Because he did the lyric breakdown, and now I'm remembering that's the intro.
Yeah. So it was really good fun actually. It was like I found him through this random Discord. So I was in a Discord group. I don't remember how I joined it, but it had a bunch of like aspiring rappers and stuff in it.
Yeah.
And someone who was like working with him on something else joined and showed me this thing, and I was just like, I quite liked his like voice and what he was doing. I was like, I think this could work on something. So I hit him up and I was like, let's work on a track. Like he'd never worked on an EDM song.
Oh, really?
So I was like, let's work on this. What do you think? And it started off as more of like a poppy song, but then I was just like, I've got to make an EDM drop, haven't I? And it just kind of, it just developed from there. But it was we did a couple of Discord sessions just to kind of like, because it was kind of like the vocal was a little like flat initially. But because he kind of plays into the autotune, if you get me. With the whole
it's
the whole
that sort
sound.
of Post Malone vibe, right?
Yeah, which is quite. It's like so like I was going for something like Kid Laroi style, if you get me. So I wanted that sort of sound, like and I think he's very influenced by him. But like no, after a couple of sessions we got the final result, which was there. And worked out super well. So
yeah, that tune was so cool. I think we said we were going to touch on it, so let's get into it. That like the trap sound that for you has become like a bit of a, not necessarily a synonymous thing, but the last few releases have been like in that kind of vein. I guess apart from like Heartless, which we can talk about that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you actually, we'll get to that, what you mentioned before about Heartless, just because that's a funny little bit. But when it comes to like the trap sound and working on that, what was it that led you down that direction? And has there been any? I mean, we said you work with MIME, who's a goat of the EDM rap as far as it comes. But has there been any like sort of highlights when it comes to collabs in that trap genre?
So I don't. Well, so I worked with Jagsy a bunch. So he was a good friend before.
Yeah.
And we made a bunch of songs together just for fun. And I think kind of like my development of my style comes partly from working with him. So seeing what he was doing and kind of doing that in my own way, because he taught me a lot about like creating trap instead of the stuff I was making before. But I don't know. I think that Run for Your Life is one of the tracks that is like most complete in that sound. Like everything in that I was happy with, like 100%.
Yeah.
Same with Zero Gravity. Like again, like that was just the pinnacle of that sound for me. But I don't really know what initially led me down that route. I just kind of naturally progressed into wanting to make something different.
Yeah.
And just over time developed my own sound within it. Did it different ways to other people. But I think there's this within trap, a lot of people like to make like it can sound quite messy the way it's mixed. And coming from house, I always wanted to mix stuff like super clean, and that didn't always work. But I still I think that was one of the things I wanted to kind of do when I made trap, was just kind of make like super clean, like future based trap songs, like, and then the rap influence just kind of naturally came within time and just worked with that sound. So
yeah. No, I mean, I think that they do go really hand in hand, and it's interesting that you touch on the sort of almost like the gritty sound that most trap, and outside of like EDM trap, like say like rap trap, like that kind of sound is very raw. What did I say then? Rap trap. Trap rap. I guess bringing that sort of the house production to that, and knowing more about like mixes and more about how to actually make those tracks sound cleaner is where it really goes hand in hand with that EDM trap. It works really well. Who's been your favorite collab?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Yeah, or maybe not your favorite. Some highlights.
I think the highlight overall has to be Heartless, because that was just. I commented this on the YouTube video actually, that we made that in basically 3 days.
What?
So we left it till the last minute. So you guys have posted about this in the Facebook group, like we want all these collabs. We left it till the last minute to start it, and I can't remember who started the idea. I think it was either Fasading or Rude Lies started the idea, and they just like we literally had 3 days to make this song, and it was so cool because it was that collaborative process, but it was just all of us like as friends, just like. That has to be the highlight as like a collab overall. Just working with all my friends. But I don't know. I don't really have a specific one. I definitely like working with Jonf.
Yeah.
So we've only put out one song together, but we made a lot of stuff before where we haven't released it, and there's potentially some other stuff coming. Same with Jagsy. Love working with him. I think our styles we just naturally click when we work together, if you get me. Yeah. So, but yeah, just working with any of the boys, just good fun. So
yeah, it comes back down to what you mentioned earlier with like the personal relationships. It makes those kind of things so much more easier, and like something that you really want to do, because it's like it's your mates that you're working with. Heartless. You said before we got on. Yeah. Because when we have Fasading on a few weeks back. He mentioned about who did what on each of the drops, and we were trying to test Dan's knowledge. Apparently, that's not what you think.
Well, I'm right. So I think he got the drops right, but I don't remember exactly who did what where, because it kind of happened so fast. So it's like the first drop I know is Fasading and Rude Lies. I know they both made that one. Yeah. The second drop I initially started writing, Versailles finished off, and then Domestic added some stuff. Jagsy worked on that one as well, but not as much. He did more of the breaks. Yeah. And then the last drop was Jonf and Magnus, from what I understand. Have I missed anyone? I don't think I have.
That was a confident execution on that.
I think that's the way it was, but it happened so quickly, so I can't quite remember properly. But I think that's what it was.
So how many of you were on that track?
I think there's 8 of us in total.
That was the biggest collab we had out of all of the mega collabs, right? Yeah, I mean, we spoke about the NCS 10 thing. We need to do more of those like big collabs. I think that's
that one started off with less of us doing it, but then we were just like, let's just get all the boys in, let's just keep adding names, because it was just fun.
It's that last drop we were like nerding out about it, because they just all 3 of them, and it's what Dan mentions. He's like, he can hear the different artist sounds. And like, obviously he's so involved in like the listen of the tracks that we sign and that, and it once you know the artist that well and the sound they produce, you can really like pick that up. But yeah, that one was nuts. And you guys had we did the different coloured circle then, right?
Yeah, the 3.
You tired?
Yeah, I am actually.
Charlotte, you wanted?
Pink, white, and green, right?
Yeah. The first, that's the first ever, right? On NCS. Yeah. That was actually we're recording this earlier than we usually do. So I think my energy's still here, but Charlotte's fallen asleep off camera.
Yeah, it's hard being off camera because
you could have come on today.
You didn't want me on.
Yeah, let us know if you ever want to see Charlotte, or we can make that like when we hit like 30 million subs on this channel. Special. Soon come. All right, let's loop back round to the music, because it's the most important stuff. I think with something like Heartless, there's loads of elements of different people on it, and luckily you guys are friends enough that you can manage those times. Yeah. But I imagine that come across circumstances where a track hasn't quite worked, where you've got in a bit of that rut. What do you do when you're struggling in those moments to try and, whether it's motivate yourself to produce, whether you're getting stuck on a little sound? How do you try and get past those?
So I would say, in general, like when I get stuck, like, so my music in general, like how I'm feeling about making it kind of just goes in circles, if you get me.
Okay.
So I'll go for a phase where I'll have like a month or two where I'll make like 5 or 6 songs and they're all stuff I'd want to put out. And then I might have months and months where I just cannot make, I'll just sit down and I can't make anything.
Yeah.
So like what I do in that time is kind of focus more on the technical elements that I can work on, like mixing, like sound design, like just finding good samples, all that stuff. And probably I'll make some terrible ideas within those times as well. But I think just when I get into that mood where I know I can't produce, I will go and just go on Discord with the boys, you know, play some games instead.
You're on Discord a lot then, right?
We're on Discord a lot. So we have a Discord group called the Boovie Boys.
The what?
Boovie Boys.
Jesus.
So I said booth wrong once before, and I said it as booth, and it's kind of stuck as the name of our Discord. So we've all the boys are in there, and we just go in there and chill, and it's kind of like it's nice because we'll critique each other as well with like music. So if something's not great, someone will say it, but they'll say it in a constructive way, if you get me. And we can all take criticism from each other, if you get me.
Yeah, and
so it's quite nice.
It's healthy to be able to do that outside of like anyone being your friend, like having people around you that are just going to tell you something's great all the time, when in a lot of cases it might be, but that's not a super healthy thing. You need to be able
it's like, especially with music as well, like everyone makes bad songs down there, you know, like even the best producers will make terrible stuff, and like for someone to turn around and say, okay, I know you've just spent 6 hours on this, but it sucks, it's kind of helpful, because you know you can move on from that and work on something else better, if you know.
I find that I like really get stressed at those kind of things. If I spend like, let's say hypothetically, if I spent like a couple of you know what I'm gonna say here?
Yeah, I know.
If I spent like a few hours like doing like a bit of content, and then I send it over and like somebody just goes, it's not good.
Yeah.
I have to.
I'm very picky, but
realistically, you're right.
Well, yeah, I am. So, I'm always right.
So it's fine. Dealing with criticism is something that people have to really get used to, I guess.
Especially any creative industry, you got.
Oh yeah. Especially when like everything's opinion based.
Yes.
So difficult.
Well, it's just like you got to surround yourself with people that you'd like trust their opinions of as such. Like, so work with people you can like respect as such, and like they'll do the same back. So
yeah, for sure. On that sort of vein of like dealing or knowing how to manage criticism, there's a lot of like messages we get, whether it's on socials or like just in comments, that will be like, oh, I've submitted my track to 10 labels for the last 2 years and like nothing's landing, it's not working. You spoke about it before when we did the little artist Q&A about if something's not quite there, maybe just like start putting the music out. For someone that's really trying to break and get their first release, whether it's label or whether it's independent, what do you recommend? Is there a way to go about it?
So I've always had different tactics. So like my way of initially getting signed to NCS, I went to Dance Fair one year. And
was your first release with us?
Yeah. Well, one of my first big releases was with you.
You did just something on Enter, right? Was it Enter?
I think Enter came after.
Oh, okay.
I think Enter came after. But I did quite a lot of stuff with Enter as well. But I went to Dance Fair with a couple of demos, and I'd already met Dan at somewhere before. I can't remember, but I just remembered him. And I was waiting all day. I went and showed them the demos, and that was the only demo on the day that they actually got signed.
Oh, really?
If you know what I mean. So I went, as you said before about personal relations, I went in person and made that effort to show it to them.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have an opportunity to do that sort of thing, that's really helpful. Like trying to get to personally know someone and show them your demo, and then but when you do that, you've got to be confident that it's something that's going to fit them. So like when I was making a song before, I'd very much cater the song to a label. So look what they're releasing, try and work your sound around that. Like the singer I got on that song, for example, I knew Dan already liked, so I got him on that.
Who was it with?
Joe Garrett.
I knew it would have been Joe Garrett.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of airtime. I think that's 3 podcasts in a row. Joe Garrett, as we mentioned.
I did that on purpose. And got him on it, and it got signed. But yeah, no, it's just if you desperately want to get on a label, cater the song to the label and just make sure the quality's there. Reference it to the songs that are already on there. But my way of looking at that now has very much changed, having signed quite a few songs with labels and stuff. So like I'm kind of looking at it now like I'm just gonna make the music that I want to make, and if labels like it, they like it. If not, I can do other stuff with it. So it's kind of like, I think it depends. You got to look at where you are in your career and what you want out of it as such.
Yeah.
So if getting on the label is the main thing, then that's a good way of doing it. Like,
have you ever self-released?
I personally have never self-released. So I did a lot of like remixes and stuff, which I pushed through SoundCloud, and then got them on
like bootleg
channels.
ones.
Yeah. So got them on stuff like Trap Nation and stuff, and things like that, and then push them out. But I've never properly self-released. I don't know why really. I just always have signed stuff with labels because it's kind of the comfort zone. But I'm getting to the point now where I probably would consider a self-release, but it would have to be the right song.
Yeah.
And I'd have to know, like, I don't want to put something out and for it to just, it wouldn't fail as such. But like I'm used to a certain level of.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
It's like once you have that like sort of threshold.
Yeah.
Anything below it, which is a shame really, because it might be that a track actually still does incredibly well.
Yeah.
But that you I guess you develop that personal threshold that's like, this is what a track should be doing.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's harder if it's just a self-release, right?
But it's always good to experiment. So like if you think a track's really good and no one wants to sign it and you really want to put it out, I would rather self-release it than waste it, if you get me.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely an option always. So yeah,
for sure. It's a big moment because the pressure's on Charlotte.
I know, I'm really nervous about this.
It doesn't matter if it doesn't happen. So yeah, usually we get to the point in the podcast about where we're at now where Dan will play some upcoming tracks, or ones we've had released. I mean, and Charlotte is now in charge of it today because I'm not going to know enough things to be able to do that. What we're going to have to lean on you a little bit here, Tom, is if there's anything in the production of these tracks that you like, get your ear in, because between me and Charlotte, I don't know how much knowledge there is.
All right.
Yeah, I won't be able to comment on a single thing.
You can just introduce what we got them.
So Kajama came out at the weekend, Kajama's EP. So I shall play some bits. Right.
No, Kajama's crazy, man.
That was sick.
He has that's a little bit like what we were saying about the trap stuff earlier. Obviously, that isn't the trap sound, but like the that like grittiness.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that UK sound.
UK bassline. That stuff will go off here. That like Kajama's killing it at the moment.
Yeah. When it was Alone, I think he said, has just been like flying in like any events that he's done. No, so that's the whole EP. What's the name of the whole EP?
Alone.
Alone is
so
the EP.
Track is Alone, and then the EP is called Alone.
What else we got?
And then yesterday we had Pressure from Perk Pietrek and Abstract.
Oh, Abstract's been on a run. You listen to Abstract?
I've heard.
Sounds really cool. Ooh. Bass sound is nuts.
I didn't expect it to go melodic.
No,
it went melodic then. I was expecting it to like stay where it was, and
that's the kind of thing that he's really brought.
Like heavy melodic sound.
Yeah. It's like proper, like almost like bitty. Do you know what I mean? It's like really individual sounds, but then that's that melody that keeps running through it. He smashed it. I don't know if you ever spoke to him before.
I've never spoken to him. No, but I've heard a few of his tracks. Yeah,
he's been on a serious run like from last year, especially when like releases that he's had with us. I think it was you the first release he had.
Yeah.
What's the name of that one?
I love that one.
What's the name of the one?
Pressure.
And Perk Pietrek, he obviously did Running Away as well with Shire. That he's been on a super killer run. Abstract's smashing it.
And then the track out tomorrow is
you're on your year 6 DJ.
The Arcturians and Defunk Emotions. Let me just get it.
We have a lot of songs.
I'm getting a bit.
Whoa.
What is that? You got a crocodile?
Yeah.
What genre is that? That's like sort of drum and bass,
That's
right?
drum and bass.
Yeah. But that's quite heavy, man.
That's very heavy. That was sick. That one's good. I like that.
Oh yeah, what's that random little noise in it? I love those kind of things. Like especially when as NCS, the majority of artists that we release are like producer artists like yourself.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to like. I guess the difference with like it's almost like a vocalist doing an ad lib, where it's just like a random little noise. I mean, you guys had what's that little vocal you had before the drop in Heartless?
Bassline gonna.
Bassline gonna make man drop.
Yeah,
Dan's obsessed with that. I know. It's like that. You get that freedom as like a producer artist to be like, I love the sound of this door closing. I'm gonna see how I can make a track out of that.
Yeah,
which is super cool. What else are we working with?
So upcoming tracks, we have Zach Mercy, Bounce.
Zach Mercy's back again. I don't know if you've noticed this, but so we play some of these upcoming releases, and we'll only play like as much as we have then.
Yeah,
like 30 seconds or so. But people will rip it. From the podcast. Do the best they can to remove our voices and be like upcoming NCS release.
Yeah.
So we should talk over the whole
We should do our
thing.
best. Yeah.
But also, if you're listening to these and you like them, you should go and pre-save them.
Do you know what? Why don't we
put the pre-save links? So that he's a podcast pro.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so Zach Mercy, Bounce, feat Niako.
Oh yeah, nice. I think they've worked on stuff together.
Yeah, which was very different to what normally Zach Mercy does.
Yeah.
I got a bottle of Patron and some lights on. Two red devil looking eyeballs.
Can go in a bit.
Took my breath away like a heart attack. And I'ma spend every dime in my money back. Everybody wanna know.
That's fire.
Right, that's it.
That's all you're getting. There's that again. That's that kind of the melody that keeps running through.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's like this when you're heavy on the melodies when it comes to your tracks, and a lot of that comes from the vocal, I guess. But do you ever have those kind of things in mind? Like you sit here that then I had that like running through the drop. A lot of artists I've spoken to sort of said that they'll get hooked on that idea. I think Culture Code mentioned it with Make Me Move.
Yeah.
Do you ever like have that one little thing that then you're like, this is the spine of the track?
Yeah, so you'll either find, so it's like a lot of the time, a lot of the older stuff I did, it was like I'd find like a vocal chop or something, and then you'd like put an LFO, so you'd like filter it or like make it sound choppy, like something like that on it, and then you'd be like, this is it. Yeah. And then if you can build a vocal around like the vocal hints at like the lead melody as such,
yes,
that sounds really sick. So it was like, I did a song back in 2019, which was on Enter, and it's called In Your Eyes. And the vocalist, she followed the like vocal chop thing I had in the drop in the bit, and it honestly, like, it's my best performing track, and I think it's because of that reason.
It's that super
like,
like it's almost in your face.
Yeah. That sort of thing works super well.
Yeah.
I'm actually breaking my rule of just SoundCloud because I can't find these on SoundCloud.
All right, we'll do
I'm doing two more.
Okay.
Actually.
Cool. She's in charge.
Born an Aria, One More Try.
One More Try.
Which we've had loads of Aria this month.
Yeah.
This year, I believe. Just gonna go in.
This is gonna have some melodies.
I've been here before.
So they're gonna rip it.
Are you the one when I try to walk? I wish I'd find
soft bit before like a big drop.
Just go in again.
All right.
For you, I give it one more try.
Right,
that's tight, man. That's all they're getting.
That's very.
That's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
Would you? I mean, to be fair, it's definitely not like your kind of sound, but there's the elements that you have it in the zero gravity drop, like, and I always speak about this on the podcast, like the gaps that people use, I think are so important.
Yes.
Like the little breathing moment before like that drop hits.
Where it kind of sucks back into.
Yeah, exactly that. I guess the use of space is so important as opposed to
100%. Right? Yeah.
We got one more.
Yeah, so I'm going to play Roy Knox's track with Tetric Space, which is like huge in the comments at the moment, isn't it? Everyone's really excited for it.
I've seen this on Roy's story, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
He went to, didn't he go to Tetrix-based wedding or whatever. They like played it.
What? Really?
I think I saw it on a story, something like that.
Oh, we've
like,
got to find
like yeah, you got to ask him about
so
that.
funny.
Yeah,
That should be the promo video.
Yeah, there you go. That's great. Oh yeah, that would be so good.
So only a tiny bit of this one.
Yeah. Everyone's been obsessed with this track. We have to make sure we speak over something.
NCS exclusive. Or
Yeah. I wonder if that's. I wonder if anyone's wedding, other than that one, has ever had an NCS track played out. That's got to be
probably.
Someone emailed me the other day asking if they could use our music.
for a wedding. Oh,
yeah.
that's so sweet.
I said send us some clips.
The content.
Right, I'm gonna go in a bit.
Yeah, don't give.
Feel like.
Oh, massive. That's it.
all.
That is all that you're getting.
That's a banger.
Is there a way to make, like how like sort of it's like really euphoric? What is it that makes something sound so massive like that?
Partly, so with that is partly the way he's written the chords.
Okay.
So that's a big part of that. Like it sounds like he's stacked them up quite
nice.
big. But like that massive sound he's got is just like stacking layers, like adding like unison, making those I think it's saw waves that you do that super big, like, but the way he keeps it clean and like tight is super impressive.
He's so good at that.
Yeah.
And I guess it's like what you mentioned earlier with like having a lot of elements, and then you did it when it comes to like the trap song, is like actually trying to make the mix sound really clean.
Yeah.
It's a very good skill to be able to add so many things. And
it
still
depends.
make it sound
So like when you mix something down, you'll either go down more of the commercial route, or with that's like he's gone for a punchy route. But like still being able to mix in a certain way and keep it clean is super impressive. Like that sort of mixing I still find impressive. Like I couldn't do it quite like that. Like.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been raving about that song, so hopefully the hype's still there for that one. Do you have any like specific production tips, whether it is just like you said, how Roy might make the mix sound?
I don't really have anything specific. I'd say learn what stuff does, and then learn why it does it, and then once you know what stuff does, you can break the rules if you want to try different things. So like I know a lot of people say when they make electronic music, it doesn't.
I've got this water bottle. So there's gonna be a few occasions through this episode. It clicks really loud. I could just ASMR it and just have it click and open.
Well, you could just leave it open.
Yeah, but knowing me, if I leave it open, I'm
true.
knocking that all over this lovely set that we've got. Sorry, Tom, carry on.
I've lost my train of thought now. What was I saying? So learn what you're doing, and then from there you can break the rules as such. So people say for EDM music, it doesn't really matter if you're following the rules completely, but if you know what stuff does, then you can break the rules in a good way, because you're like, you know why you've done that, if you get me.
Okay, cool.
So, but a big thing with a lot of my tracks before was I would bus literally the majority of elements to one track.
I hear that, but what is busting? Is that
so it's just kind of sending multiple tracks into one other track.
Okay, cool.
So it's kind of like grouping them into one track, and on that track that I'd bus it to, I'd put an LFO, so it's kind of like a volume filter almost,
okay,
and it's
cool.
just kind of like making it sound more choppy. So it's like when you'd have that, it's like in Run For Your Life, you've got that kind of A and B section, you've got kind of like in the drop where it's like call and response, so you've got that section where it's like sustained, and then I'll automate it where this LFO comes in and it gets more choppy. And I found for me that was a way to make stuff tight quite easily, like it would make the sound come together tight, and it was also unique. But it's just finding effects and stuff that you can add on top to kind of bring like a new life to different sounds.
Yeah, of course.
Just finding different ways to make it unique and just trying out of the box stuff.
Yeah,
and seeing
I think
how it goes.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, there's nothing specific. Just have fun with it, you know.
How much of what Tom just said?
I've got to say
Did
that
you
went
understand?
straight over my
Straight
head.
over
I
your
literally,
head.
to be honest, I was just like, I'm not even gonna try and understand.
I picked up enough. I think living with people that produce, I think there's enough there. That's why I was nervous about when we were playing the tracks. I was like, oh, Dan's not here to say syncopated or whatever it is that he usually says. Yeah, that's super cool. Let's talk about Soundproof. Charlotte, we've said this to you before. Charlotte's a massive fan of
I am
Soundproof.
a huge fan.
You guys have stopped it for a while now, right?
So the initial reason I started Soundproof was I had to do a third year uni project where I kind of brought everything together and used all the stuff I'd learned. And I thought Soundproof was a great way to do it because I could incorporate music into it. And obviously jump on it as well. We're like best friends, so it's just good fun to talk every week and do that sort of stuff. But we did something like 13, 14 episodes, I think. Yeah. And then it just kind of got to the point where it wasn't working with our two schedules and we weren't quite...
Where's he based?
So he's based in Sweden.
Okay.
He's in he's not in Stockholm. He's in like a city just like an hour or two away.
Okay.
But No, it just didn't work then. But I think we've been talking about it. So when I was in America before, I went and stayed with Exod for a couple of days.
Oh, nice.
So I crashed at his place, and he was saying he'd listened to it before and it was cool and stuff, and we should restart it and all of that. So like I'm thinking of like bringing it back, but I would do it slightly differently if I did it now. And also the thing was then my computer didn't have a graphics card in it, so it would take like 2 or 3 hours to render, which would drive me absolutely insane.
Don't start on render times for podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh god, it stresses me out, man.
I've got a graphics card now though, so I could do it more easily. It won't take ages, but yeah. No, I think I don't really know why we stopped it. It was good fun to do when we did it.
Yeah.
So
Well, Charlotte was a massive fan.
Yeah.
You've said that many times.
Yeah, but no, you were a massive fan.
thank
I
you.
did like it. I thought it was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think there's probably like, I reckon Soundproof had somewhat apart from Dan wanting to definitely do a podcast at some point in his life and me needing an excuse to be able to speak, because otherwise I'm just going to talk outside of being behind this mic. Soundproof definitely had like a little bit of an influence, I reckon, on us being like, want to do a podcast.
I think so.
You were listening to it, and then we started it. And you said you did about, I think we're probably around the same number of episodes as we hit this one. You had some cool guests on there. You spoke to Malarkey, I know, really cool guy, Mofork, Versailles, who you've mentioned.
Yeah. We had Retrovision on as well.
Oh, nice.
Who else? I can't. A bunch of people.
Obviously Dan.
Yeah.
I'm
Dan.
just pointing at the empty seat. Yeah, is there any like sort of highlights of things or I guess consistencies that you've learned from talking to these different producers and industry professionals?
I don't know really. It was just nice to get different people's perspectives.
Yeah.
So we would go, we centered Soundproof around being very industry based and like talking about what's happening in the industry and our experience with how we've dealt with it. And I feel like now if we did it again, I'd want to talk more about personal stuff as well, if you get me. So you get both sides of it. But it was really cool just to see how other people had developed like musically and also like in an industry based way, how they got to where they were. But no, it was just like, yeah, it was super cool to speak to all these people in that sense. So,
yeah, I think that's the balance that like I'm sort of still trying to figure out when it comes to like this podcast, is like when we go super in depth on the music and the production, and then compared to like talking about what we do outside of this, and like and I think there's definitely different audiences that it caters to, but I think once you find the balance, it's all right. It's not too much of a stress really.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of NCS releases. Green Circle's really been running up, but yeah, there's been a whole load. What's been obviously what was the first track that you mentioned, the one that you gave to Dan?
I Die.
Oh yeah.
Not a fan of that one anymore.
Really?
Yeah,
How come?
Just not keen. I've gone a very different direction from then, so I'm not keen on that song anymore. But you know, you put some stuff out earlier and you're not always 100% on it.
Yeah, of course. Your style and sound change.
Yeah.
Right. What have been, if I had to put it on you, what would be your top 3 NCS Tom Wilson releases?
Ooh, okay. So I think Be Myself's got to be up there because that was quite different.
Yeah.
I quite like that one. Although I'm pretty sure I got the vocals on them when I sent the lyrics through. I'm pretty sure I sent them through wrong. I think it says something different to what it says because it's like a vocal sample splice. So that was interesting. But yeah, Be Myself is up there. I think Zero Gravity's got to be up there.
I'm a big fan of
that. I really like the way that kind of sound came out because that was quite different to anything I'd done, but it still incorporated that Tom Wilson sound, if you get me.
Yeah.
And I think it's got to be Run For Your Life.
That's goated.
Yeah.
And we had the remix competition for that.
Yeah, that was really sick.
Cool. What's it like hearing people actually flip something that you've spent so many hours in?
It's so cool going through I spent ages listening to all those remixes, and I really struggled to pick a winner for that. But like, it's just so cool hearing that like people would spend like, because I know how long it takes to make a track, anywhere between like 5 and 40 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
The fact that people have spent that much time and are willing to send it in because like from my original track was insane. It was so cool to hear. Like,
yeah, it's I mean, I guess it's like a really surreal thing especially because like you have an idea and a vision for what Run For Your Life is, and then someone might take it in a complete different direction.
Yeah.
We did the remix competition for Cartoon On and On, which was part of NCS 10. Was that part of NCS 10? Did we just do it around that time? I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
It was at Christmas, right?
Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. And obviously, On and On is just one of the biggest things that there is when it comes to like NCS and just the general internet music scene. But I mean, hearing people take something that's so iconic and then flip it in such an interesting way is just it's something that you wouldn't expect. I guess.
It's like some of the genres people did of the like. I heard a load of house remixes of my one.
That's surprising.
It's like hearing some of the genres that people can turn stuff into. It's impressive. Like you would never think that would work with like the BPM and stuff of
of
songs. You know, so it's
super
cool to hear.
Do you have is there any like artists at the moment that you're keeping your eye on that you really like just fucking with what they're putting out?
I don't know if there's anyone specifically. So like my thing at the moment is I'm really looking at a lot of the drum and bass people now because I'm kind of changing my style a bit. So there's a lot of people I'm looking up to, and it's kind of like it's all those like all the classic UK like Friction, K9, all those people, but on a smaller level. Have you heard of Document One before?
No.
So it's there's some smaller artists which I really like their stuff at the moment.
Is it this like UK scene?
Yeah.
There's a real like it's a renaissance time, I think.
Yeah.
It's a big push of the UK like producer artist.
It's but yeah, no, I don't. It's weird. I haven't kept as much an eye on some of the NCS releases lately. I normally listen to all of them, but like I don't know, my sound's just been shifting a bit. So it's cool. Obviously I'm taking different influences from different places now. So.
Yeah, I mean you mentioned it before we got on, and you just touched it there on like the drum and bass thing. What there's been a bit of a sort of like a few months off for you.
Yes.
And you've mentioned that you got a few things in the work. What kind of things have been happening behind the scenes?
So I've probably got like 8 or 9 songs that are drum and bass that I'm really happy with. So I've got like a mix of kind of some liquid drum and bass and then some heavier stuff.
Okay. What is that? What does that mean, liquid drum and bass?
So liquid's just like it's quite chill. Like it's focus on like that you've got like just like the kind of hi-hats on top, they're a little bit softer, but it's still punchy if you get
like
me.
That running melody is
yeah.
It's a heavier drop,
more melodic and kind of airy. Whereas like some of the other stuff is a lot heavier, like the one I showed you before.
Yes. That tune.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. But I kind of it's just having stuff to play out partly. That was it. So I've got a live set that I recorded quite a while ago. And so I went back to my old uni and we kind of like did a proper setup and everything, like got lights
sick.
and like
what uni did you go to?
Derby. I went to Derby.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah. Went back there and we filmed like a 30-minute set. And that's kind of hinting at some of the new stuff. And there's some unreleased songs in there as well, which it's more trap stuff that's unreleased in there, but it kind of hints at some of the what I'm looking to do with like drum and bass and stuff. But no, I've just been taking time to figure out what I really want to make, what I enjoy making, and just developing on that. So
awesome. Is there anything confirmed yet, or is it all just sort of up in the air?
So there's I've done kind of like a remix of Baby No Money track, which he just released called Mathematics. When this goes out, it will probably be out. Okay. So I'm gonna put that out and hopefully push that a bit. But there's nothing specifically confirmed yet. I'm waiting for the right opportunities as such. So,
Okay. Well, I mean, we can keep our ears to the street for that one. I think outside of just music, what are we in now? We're in April, May of 2022, and obviously we've had the last 2 years that have been a bit of a weird one. Yeah. And I mean, yourself just exploded in that year, managing to put out, like we said, three or four tracks that year, and I mean, continuing to grow just that Tom Wilson brand. But outside of music, what is it that you're looking forward to for the rest of the year and beyond?
Ooh, I just like traveling in general. So like that's one of the things I love doing, especially traveling with the boys, just going places. So I'm going to Ibiza tomorrow. I'm going to Ibiza for IMS, which is a music summit there, and just seeing the lads out there and chilling and just honestly just spending time with mates. Like a couple of us are going to the Lake District for a week in summer, take the decks along, have barbecue.
That's fire.
That'd be sick. That'd be good fun. But traveling, having a good time with mates, trying to work towards putting some music out, doing some more live shows, I
think you can't force it, right?
No,
like those moments while you do it.
Yeah, if you're happy in life, like you can kind of tell with people's music, because it's easier to make music when you're happy with everything else.
So true.
Whereas if you're not happy with yourself, you're not going to be happy with the music you're making a lot of the time.
I think can come across to so many things as well. Yeah, not even just music. It's like when your mindset's more clear, you can stay on top of stuff, and then the better that you feel, the more motivated these other projects are, right?
Exactly, yeah.
We said earlier about you going to Go Up, and I always try to working at Go Up, and I always try and find like the slightest tangible thing for this ending section. This is a real jump, quite literally, for what our NCS what track would you listen to? Little round off bit is. But Charlotte, do you want to take it away? You've really had a busy podcast today.
I know.
You've had to play some demos. You've got your segment.
What NCS track would you listen to whilst skydiving?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Just for clarity, I'm thinking your drop's gonna hit as you jump.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying.
All right.
I mean, feel free to disagree.
Okay.
What do you think?
No, that's fine.
Okay,
That's
still
easier
works,
to
right?
be fair.
We spoke about this before. No cheating and picking OG tracks.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Am I allowed to go with the one that? Oh, okay.
I just think that's not a great
yeah.
track
Yeah.
to pick this.
Let us know in the comments, because I mean, you guys are obviously massive fans of the any even the new and old songs that we put out. But do you think we should avoid using? I don't know what camera to look at when I'm doing this. If I should look at a camera at all, I probably shouldn't. Do you think we should avoid in these hypotheticals using some classic NCS tracks? Because I feel like that just means you're going to win, right?
I feel like because of the fan base, you pick certain songs, you've won.
Yeah.
So
You whack on, and that's you've gone there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, what NCS track would you listen to while skydiving? Charlotte, do you want to go first?
No.
Okay, I can go first. Mine's actually going to be a Tom Wilson track.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
And it partially probably will be because of the name of the track.
Okay.
But I'm going to actually do Zero Gravity,
Okay.
which I think is a cool little one. But get me to the drop though. The best thing about
I mean, in my eyes, that's already won. So
there you go. Yeah, I've got Tom's one. I think that there's so much of me, because I was going to do JPB High.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love the song to put, and I'm genuinely a real big fan of Zero Gravity. I like that song a lot. But I mean, the name alone, I feel like that's going to help me.
Yeah.
It's going to really help me.
I'm going to go in.
Gotta let go to see the magic happen. They got this
That Kinder Oil that you mentioned. That Suey lock on his face, like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Alright, so now I'm like on the edge.
Keep celebrating.
And now I'm jumping. I'm gone, I'm falling. That drops so well. That's what I mentioned about that melody. And that's what I'm saying about that space.
Like,
I love the little, it's so cool.
I think I'm going to want lyrics as I'm falling.
Why?
I just feel like I'd need something to focus on.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. You want to like sort of zone out a bit.
Fair enough.
Tom?
I'll go for Murderer by Have. Who else? I can't remember who else was on it. That's terrible. But that the drop is super heavy on that. I feel like a super heavy song to jump out of. Just imagine, you got the tension to build up as well.
Yeah, that's so true. That's actually a part of it.
Yeah.
Like how tense the build up. Both are sick on it. Who else is on this?
Carbon and Emily Mackis.
That's it, Emily.
There we go. Lyrics as well.
Oh yeah, this drop's actually really heavy.
Yeah, this might be a good track.
Imagine you're like hyping this stuff up.
I'd need this to force it to jump out. That's a
Couple of flips on the way out.
You've worked with Have on a track before, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you
actually.
haven't? I thought you
No.
had. Have you ever connected?
No, I'd love to.
Definitely.
Sick.
If
he's very
if
sick.
listening or watching, that would be sick. All right, Charlotte, on you.
I wanted to do Lost Without You, but I know that's cheating because I did that.
This happens every week with Charlotte.
time.
She gives herself time by pretending that she.
I
hasn't got
might
one.
do
Just
back
back it.
Royalties remix Wigwaz and Alter.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Because I think I want like more lyrics. Okay, this bit doesn't feel right, but
Best smashing. You ever got into listening to Neon?
Yeah.
Really cool. Come on. Give us a drop.
I'm trying to get to that bit.
I forgot we had the lyrics. That's a sick. Good choice. Can't be mad at it. Can't be mad at it. There's some. I think we're on a very even playing field there. And what I would also say is that we've actually usually there tends to be like a bit of a running theme with the kind of tracks that we pick. But that's a bit. There's a lot of difference there. Go over to the community tab section. Let us know. Myself, Tom, or Charlotte, who had the best tune for jumping out of skydiving out of a plane. Not just jumping out of a plane. So I'm not
Make sure you got a
condoning that
parachute,
at all.
yeah.
Make sure you got a parachute. Before we wrap things up, we said about like what's happening in the next year for you, the kind of stuff that you're looking to do, release, etc. But what's the bigger vision when it comes to the Tom Wilson project? Where do you want to see it in 5 years' time, say?
I don't know. I don't think there's anything specifically. I think it's just like working towards maybe doing more live shows. That's a big thing. I'd love to play a few more events. And I don't know, just having fun with music, you know?
Yeah.
If it's something that I can make enough money off to kind of live off, that'd be awesome. If not, I'll still do it for fun, you know? So that's the way I see it. Just take it as it comes and just see where it goes, you know?
That's the best way to be, man. You can't, if a hobby happens to be a profession, I mean, so be it. But if not, a hobby's, you do it because you enjoy it, right?
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and helping me co-host without Dan here.
No problem.
I think he's really got his work cut out.
Yeah, I'm coming for you, Dan.
Yeah, he's coming for you, Dan. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, watching, however you might be streaming, etc. Check out Tom's socials in the links below. Go and show some love, and keep your eyes on his socials for maybe some upcoming tracks very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Full Circle. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.